Have you ever felt overwhelmed by the choices before you? Maybe you're standing in front of a store shelf, faced with hundreds of brands and types of toothpaste. Or perhaps you're scrolling through endless lists of movies, paralyzed by the sheer number of options. It seems that in every area of our lives, we're confronted with an avalanche of choices. And yet, despite all this freedom, many of us feel stuck, uncertain, and even unhappy. Is it possible that all this choice, this apparent abundance of freedom, is actually making us less free? Socrates, the ancient philosopher, might have had something to say about that. He once said, "The secret of happiness, you see, is not found in seeking more, but in developing the capacity to enjoy less." This simple but profound statement holds a mirror to our modern condition, one in which the more options we have, the more disconnected we become from what truly brings us happiness. In a world where we're told that more is always better, it's easy to forget the power of simplicity. So what if, in our quest for more choices, we've inadvertently found ourselves trapped in a maze of endless possibilities, unable to move forward, let alone find satisfaction? Today, let us explore the paradox of choice. So make sure to subscribe to the channel to discover how too many options are preventing us from living authentically, connecting with our true selves, and embracing the contentment that comes from living with less. And along the way, we'll consider how we might begin to break free from this paradox and rediscover the joy of simplicity. Imagine for a moment that you're planning a trip. You've got a few destinations in mind, but you're not sure where to go. So you hop on the internet and begin researching. The possibilities seem endless. You could go to the mountains for a quiet retreat, the beach for a relaxing vacation, or maybe even take a cultural tour through a foreign city. The options are abundant, and each one promises a different form of adventure. The more you research, the more options you find, and soon the trip you once looked forward to has become a source of stress. Which place will give you the most joy? Which destination is the best? How do you even define that? What was once a simple decision has now spiraled into a vortex of confusion. And the more you think about it, the less sure you become of your own desires. What happened to the excitement you once felt about just getting away? This is the paradox of choice in action. The more options we have, the harder it becomes to make a decision. And worse yet, the choices we make rarely bring the satisfaction we expect. In fact, studies have shown that when we're presented with too many options, we're more likely to experience regret and dissatisfaction. This is known as choice overload. Why is that? Could it be that the abundance of options makes us less connected to our own desires? Could the very act of having so many choices actually lead us further from authenticity? Think about it this way. When we're surrounded by an endless array of possibilities, how can we ever be certain of what we truly want? Our desires become clouded by the sheer volume of alternatives. We begin to second-guess ourselves, wondering whether we made the right choice or if there was something better out there. And the more we focus on what could be, the less we appreciate what is. It is almost as if we're living in a world of constant distraction, where every choice leads us to think about the next and the next and the next. In this space, we never truly stop to ask ourselves what would make us happy right now. And if we don't stop to ask that question, how can we ever know what truly fulfills us? This is where Socrates' wisdom comes in. He understood that happiness isn't found in the constant pursuit of more. It's found in the capacity to enjoy less. In his time, there were certainly fewer choices than we have today, but his insight resonates just as deeply now. The more we narrow our focus, the more present we become. The fewer distractions we allow, the more room we create for genuine contentment. But let us be clear, this isn't about giving up all options or living in austerity. It's about cultivating the awareness to choose less in order to experience more. It's about recognizing that not every option needs to be pursued. The choice to simplify is, in itself, a powerful choice. A choice that aligns us more closely with our true desires. What if we began to approach life with the mindset that less is more? What if we stopped constantly chasing the next shiny object, the next best thing, and started savoring what we already have? What if, instead of being swept up in the frenzy of more, we chose to cultivate joy in the simple, the familiar, the unadorned? Take, for instance, the idea of minimalism, a lifestyle that has gained popularity in recent years. At its core, minimalism is about shedding the excess in order to focus on what truly matters. And while this concept might sound like it as just about physical things, getting rid of clutter or owning fewer possessions, it is actually about much more than that. It's about making room for what's meaningful in our lives, whether that's relationships, experiences, or simply the present moment. Minimalism teaches us to stop filling our lives with unnecessary distractions, to let go of the constant pursuit of more, and instead to embrace the richness that comes from simplifying. When we do this, we free ourselves from the tyranny of choice and open ourselves up to authentic living. Now, I know this isn't always easy. We live in a society that constantly tells us to strive for more, to reach for higher goals, to accumulate wealth, status, and possessions. Everywhere we look, we see ads, social media influencers, and well-meaning friends encouraging us to make more choices, to expand our horizons. But here's the thing. The more we focus on those external markers of success, the less connected we become to our own inner truth. We might buy the latest gadget, thinking it will make us happy, but soon enough, we're left craving something else. We might follow the latest trend, hoping it will give us meaning, but the thrill quickly fades. And in the process, we lose sight of what truly brings us joy. Whether that, as a quiet moment with a loved one, the feeling of accomplishment from a meaningful task, or the peace that comes from simply being. When we make fewer, more intentional choices, we begin to reconnect with our true selves. We find that happiness isn't in the quantity of what we have, but in the quality of what we choose to focus on. It's not about having more options, it is about having the courage to say no to the distractions and yes to the things that truly matter. If you haven't already, take a moment to pause and reflect. When was the last time you truly felt at peace, not because of something you achieved or bought, but because you embraced simplicity? What would it look like for you to let go of some of the choices that don't serve you, whether that is the endless scrolling on your phone or the clutter in your mind, and focus instead on what truly brings you joy? Think about it. What if living authentically isn't about having more choices, but about choosing less? As we approach the end of this reflection, I want to leave you with this thought. Happiness is not a product of more. It's a state of being that arises from living with intention, from embracing simplicity, and from developing the capacity to enjoy the small, quiet moments that are already here. If you found yourself reflecting on these ideas, I encourage you to take a step back and ask, what can I let go of in order to live more authentically? What choices can I eliminate to make room for what truly matters? Remember, the path to happiness is not about seeking more, it's about making space for less. If you enjoyed this reflection, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss the next chapter of this journey. Share your thoughts in the comments below. How do you find contentment in a world full of options? I'd love to hear your reflections. Until next time, take care, and may your journey be filled with simplicity and peace.